everyone, I'm Tally, this is Farrell, and we are bored of it. And welcome to our top 10 of our most played games as of 2024.
Yep, so for the last few years around this time, we've just basically released our, you could say, channel stats. So we started keeping a log of what we've played, basically the same time we started the channel. So we're going to go through what our top 10 most played games are, and perhaps just to give you the full scoop, it probably at some points won't be as interesting as other lists, just because it obviously tends to be smaller games that get played more because they're easier. But there are actually some quite heavy hitters on here, so we'll get into that. But I think we can just go through. We'll obviously start at number 10, go up to number 1. We're going to tell you how much we have played that game, and then how many times since when we did this video last year, or if it's increased at all.
Yep. Okay, so we get right into it then.
Let's go with number 10.
So I haven't memorized it off the top of my head, so I need a little bit of digital support. Okay, but number 10 is Rustling Leaves. We have played this game a total of 32 times, with a further 4 times since our last video on this topic.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think Rustling Leaves, so it's a roll and write by Palamori. It essentially, it's basically putting boxes on a grid. It's kind of cool because there are 4 seasons. So you have like 4 different sheets, and each one scores in different ways, and you're trying to do different things and has slightly different rules. But you kind of roll 2 dice and it'll give you like a 3x3 box or a 3x1 box, and you put it somewhere. You have to continue out. So if you get really big rolls, it can be really tough. Or if you get a lot of small ones, it can be very easy. But there's a lot of variety. It's just become, I think, our favorite roll and write, our go-to roll and write. We particularly like taking on holiday. Just it's quite easy to play, soothing, doesn't require much space at all.
No, exactly.
And I think our plays since the last list, they basically have come on holiday as well.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever really played it when we've been at home, right? I think we maybe talked about this last time. Yeah, so maybe 1 or 2 plays when we first got it at home, and then since then, travel game exclusively.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's really nice. I really enjoy sitting somewhere on holiday in a pub somewhere, hopefully with a view, and just having a little game of Rustling Leaves. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah, I think we had it on our Instagram because we went on a holiday in Poland earlier this year, and it was just like mountain, wine, Rustling Leaves.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
classic.
But if you just want a nice little travel roll and write, nice little roll and write generally, Rustling Leaves, I think, is gone to the top, and that's why it's getting up in this top 10 most plays.
Yep, exactly. Okay, should we move on to number 9, and that is Quacks of Quedlinburg, one of my all-time favourite games.
Yeah.
It's we played that also a total of 32 times, so I guess it's a little bit of a joint.
Yeah, I think the way the list is done is that if a game is heavier and on the same plays, it's like higher because it obviously takes more time and effort to play a heavier game. Not that Quacks is very heavy.
Yeah, exactly. And with something like Rustling Leaves, we probably play it 2 or 3 times in a single session.
Yeah.
But we've played Quacks also 4 times since the release of the last list, which is not quite high enough for my liking. We need to pump those numbers up.
So that's pretty good.
It needs to be more. I love Quacks. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Quacks is if you're into the hobby at all, but it's kind of been around for quite a few years, right? It's basically a push your luck game where you have some different coloured chips which represent ingredients you're basically putting into a potion because you're a quack. And certain ingredients kind of make your pot explode if you have too many of them in there. But it's all about trying to put as many ingredients in your pot as possible because you go further and further around your cauldron, and that will score you more points. And it also gets you more kind of money to spend round to round, where you can buy more and more coloured chips to kind of increase the probability of not pulling those kind of exploding ingredients. But it's really cool because the different coloured chips have different powers on them, and you can swap different powers in and out. So the kind of core of each game is the same, but it has some variability with those different kind of powers that the ingredients
it
have.
can be very variable the way you can combo the different chips together, basically, and ingredients.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think this has been played so much in part because it's one of your favorite games, but also it's a crowd pleaser. It's lower complexity game. It's easy to get out. Everyone usually pretty much always has a good time. And I think that's just kind of how we've managed to get it to the table so much.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've had some friends maybe request it once or twice to play it as well. So that helps to get it out. Yeah,
just one thing probably should have said before as well. Is just to put it into context, obviously, because we are reviewers. Just to say these numbers aren't like crazy high, right? Because I know some people play games hundreds of times, but it's because we're always, gift and a curse, moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So, we've been sent something for review and we have to review it. So we can't sit as much as we'd like and keep playing our favorite games, you could say. Yeah, it's a bit of a treat sometimes, isn't it? When we're thinking, we really want to get some older classics out. Okay, we've got some breathing room to be able to do that now. But then that's quite nice because it makes it more of a treat rather than kind of overplaying your favourite games. Exactly.
As well. Okay, so moving on to number 8. That is Caper Europe. And we've played it a total of 33 times, but unfortunately 0 times since the last list. So that hasn't kind of moved in terms of total plays, which is really crazy because we love this game. We absolutely raved about it and we still rave about it, to be honest.
It's one of both of our favorite games of all time. 2-player, kind of drafting, kind of tug of war game. We've spoken about it a lot at length before, so I won't go too into it, but it's almost our favorite 2-player game. And I think part of the reason we haven't played it is just because, just kind of what I just said, where we're always playing something new. We've had a lot of new kind of 2-player specific games, I think, throughout this year.
Yeah.
And I think they've taken up a lot of our, you could say, time when we would be playing a 2-player game, like a shorter, quick 2-player game. We might be playing Star Wars Unlimited, which we played a lot this year. We just had Lord of the Rings Duel, which is the kind of implementation of Seven Wonders Duel. And I think that's why that struggled to get back.
Yeah. And I think, and not to say that we got tired or bored of it, like not at all, but we played it so much when we first got it, like 20 something times within the first month or so, I think. So it's not like you crave to go back to it, but it's still like one of our favorite games. I think maybe again, if it was more travel friendly, it's something that you could take away because it is quite quick, maybe 25 minutes. I guess you could take all of the components out of the box and it's a bit fiddly.
No, I mean, it's not the biggest box. We did do it once.
But it's not like a small box like Rust and Leave. It's like small to medium sized, and I don't know, it's not that you need a big table, but it has that long thing, and it's not just like swapping some cards or a small roll and write pad. So I think it would get a bit higher up if it was a bit easier to travel with.
Okay,
cool. All right. So moving on to the next. So 10, 9, 8, number 7. This is really funny to me. Number 7 is No Thanks.
No Thanks.
A modern classic in this household.
Well, with our families, I think. Well, my family in particular. So that has been played a total of 35 times with a further 7 plays since the last video. So I think this is one that's probably just crept into the top 10. And No Thanks is a very simple kind of, party game's the wrong word, but very simple, like family weight, little kind of time killer almost, where you have a number of tokens and there's a card in the middle of the table with a number, and you basically either take the card by saying yes please and you get all the tokens on it, or you say no thanks and you put a token on it. And you're trying to make runs of these cards, except some of them are randomly removed from the deck each time, so you're not sure. And you're basically trying to have like the least amount of points, negative points. So it's just a really fun, kind of short, quick card game, if you will. And there's a lot of different like strategies and ways you can go about it within like this microcosm. And it's just something that I think in particular my family's really enjoyed playing. And again, because it takes 10, 15 minutes, you do get a couple of games in. I think we actually took this on holiday when we got married and we played a couple of games, which is where some of those plays have come from, like I said, with my family. So
yeah, I think it's a really good game to play if your family is into like kind of bantering with each other and being a bit competitive, because there's a lot of like schadenfreude with that. If someone ends up having to take a high card which adds to their negative combo, you're like ha ha ha, like it has that kind of take that vibe a little bit, but it's not that deep, right? So if people don't like something which is very mean, then it's nice
in the
one
middle.
to play. Exactly.
You definitely look and like people take cards that do nothing for them, like not that they give them any negative, but they don't get them anything either, just to annoy you, because you like will ruin your run. So it can be quite funny in that aspect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. All right, moving on to number 6. That is Wingspan.
Wingspan.
A total of 35 plays with another 2 in the last year.
Yeah, so I mean, Wingspan really needs no introduction. You're collecting birds to a habitat. It's, I mean, probably almost one of the most well-known board games, particularly in the modern era. So we won't go too much into it. But this has always been in our top 10, not because it's particularly a favorite of ours, but because of all the reasons that it is popular. It's easy to get to the table. It's kind of easy to play, but with a nice amount of decision-making, comboing. It's very fulfilling in some ways. Lots of beautiful artwork and components. And again, a bit like Quacks of Quedlinburg, this is one that people might ask for more than we play.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'll actually end up playing it because there's an expansion or something. I know we did a review of the fan art expansion.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was this year, but that might be where those plays came from.
Yeah, I think so.
And I know one of the reasons that we haven't played it very much at all this year is because of Wormspan.
I was about to say, it's Wormspan overtook it a little bit.
Yeah. So you could say it's a standalone sequel, different enough that we haven't combined them together into one kind of Wingspan play total. I definitely feel like they're fairly different. So we've played a fair amount of that, I think like 8-10 times.
Yeah.
So that's taken away our plays of Wingspan.
Yeah, I guess we did a buyer's guide as well, right?
Yeah, that was a while ago, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, Wingspan is just, I really like it. Maybe I like it a little bit more than you, but also wouldn't put it in my top 10 perhaps, but I'm always happy to play a game of Wingspan. I don't think I would ever say no if someone said, hey, can we play Wingspan? No, I really don't feel like it. It's just one of those games that it's just nice, it's quite soothing. So yeah, there's no reason to not play it. But for us, we have a lot of other things that we would probably rather get out, or again, like we keep saying, we have new things to look into, so that's why it's only had like 2 plays. But it's just something for me. I don't know how you feel, but I would just never get rid of it. I would just like it to be in the collection forever. So
well, we got the I think that's part of why we played as well. We got the Wingspan
and the nesting box.
The nesting box this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right when we did the buyer's guide. So now everything's like nicely organized as well. So I think that's been another reason to get it out.
Exactly. It might not fluctuate too much, but I think it will always kind of just be there.
Yeah. Okay, what's next?
All right. Next one. That is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5. That is So Clover.
So Clover.
36 plays of So Clover.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm surprised at that or not, because I feel like we play it a lot. But that is quite a lot.
I think I feel
like it would be more.
I think with So Clover, we play it a lot, but we play it in like very short periods where we play it a lot.
Yeah, Christmas. So this is going to like jump up again at Christmas. But we had another 19 plays since the last time.
So I feel like we might have had this game. We got it at Christmas, but I think it was like 2 Christmases back. Yeah. And So Clover is a word game in the style of something like Codenames or Decrypto. You kind of there are square cards with a single word on each kind of edge, you could say. and then you put them on randomly onto a clover. So you have like 4 of these cards on it, and then each kind of leaf joins 2 words together. And then you have to make a 1-word clue linking those 2. You take them all off, shuffle them, and then it's kind of cooperative because, I would write I would write the clues, and then everyone else around the table would be the ones who try and put the cards back in the right order.
You have to work together basically, and then kind of agree somewhat in where you want to place them as a team.
And I think I originally picked this up when your parents were coming for Christmas as like a kind of, family game. They enjoyed code names and things like that. So it's just something new to try, and it was really popular with them. And I think, it's just that when we've been together with family, it gets played a lot. I think your mum's been over a fair few times this year, and it's probably like her favorite game. Mm-hmm. So I think like last Christmas, which was after we did this video last year, then when she's been over, that's where all these plays have come from. Yeah. And it is a really, really terrific word game. I think there's just something so funny. We played it as well, actually, with my family came over.
I was thinking about
a few more plays of that. It's just, it always hits perfect with the family. A lot of fun, a lot of laughter, a lot of like discussion after about why you did what. Yeah.
So I think maybe I've said this before, but it is cooperative, and we're not typically like co-op people. But this one, whilst you're working as a team, and maybe this is just because we're savages, there's almost an element of like, you want to be the one to put the clues in the right place. We're really bad. We're really bad people.
Yeah. No, we're just like, what are you talking about?
So there's a little bit of
and then
element
I'll change it, and they're like, no.
Yeah, it's not like too cutesy, right? I don't think we like things which are like too cutesy when it comes to cooperative, because yes, okay, you want to get it right, but you also want to be the one. Oh, I knew that person like the best, right? I got the clues, and feel a bit smug if you go with someone else's ideas and it's wrong. So I think that's also why it's like a good hit with us.
There's always a lot of laughter, I think, when we play So Clever, and it's just been going up and up. I mean, I think it's gotten a lot of plays continuously, and obviously in the last year it's really shot up, but I think it started off high popularity and it's just growing.
Probably would not be surprised to see it on the list again next year with a lot more plays as well. All right, so moving on to number 4, that is Root. We have 40 total plays of this game, with a further 2 since the last list. So I think it's really nice because we've actually found a bit of a group who we can play Root with now. Some people that already know how to play the game. So I guess we've played it both times with them, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because previously we struggled. I mean, you can play it 2, and we do think it is pretty good at 2 with the Clockwork expansion. But when we've tried to play it with other friends before, it doesn't quite hit because it is a bit of a steep learning curve. But having people that already know how to play it just come in and be able to get on with it means that we've had the chance to play it a little bit more.
So I think I would have liked to personally play it more. But again, it's always like, always something else to play, which is a problem, but it was really nice to play with them. And I have no doubt that this is going to go up in plays once the new expansion comes out, which is going to be a while, but I know there's going to be plays in the future. And I would like to return to it with this group. But I'd also, I know about a month ago, and it never happened, but I kind of want to just get it out, just us two, maybe with like Clockwork expansion.
Definitely.
And have a play. But it's something that, it's a fairly heavy game, and it's 40 plays, which shows how much we like it. It's one of our favorite games of all time. I think it's in both of our top 10. Root is really brilliant. It's an asymmetric war game with a kind of cute veneer of woodland creatures. Every faction plays different, so everyone's kind of playing their own little game with a few shared base rules. And there's just a lot to it. And we're big fans of the designer and pretty much anything he puts out. So that's why it's one of our most played. And really high up there for its weight category.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on to number 3. That is My City. That has now 48 plays
Yeah.
The maximum
Yeah, the
number.
maximum. Well, we could buy another copy.
That's true. And we played it a further 12 times since the last list.
Yeah. So My City is a legacy game by Rainer Knizia. It's tile placement. And it kind of has, each game's pretty short, which is why we've played so much. And the campaign lasts for 24 games. We decided to, because we played it two-player the first time, you can kind of replay it with a bit of jury rigging. So we decided to do that. And that was just, obviously, we did the second half of our second campaign, which is why we have so many plays. And also, again, because each game is like 10 minutes long, 15 minutes.
Exactly. No, really enjoy My City. Little side note, we've also been enjoying My Island, which is, it's not really a sequel, how would you say?
Yeah.
Goes alongside it,
Yes.
just a bit of a different theme, different shaped tiles, which is quite interesting. So yeah, obviously because it is legacy campaign style, you have to play a certain amount of times in order to finish it, hence why there's 48, because there's 24 per game. Not too much else to say there?
No, it's just, it's a really, I think, I just recommend it to a lot of people, to be honest, because it's just, it's fun because of the legacy element. It's a fun game in general. It doesn't overstay its welcome because each game is quite short and you can put it away for a while. There's just a lot to like about it. And obviously, that's why we got it back out again rather than just kind of throwing it out once
that would be a
we
shame.
played the first campaign.
Yeah, and I was excited to play it round again. Because it's not, okay, some of the surprises aren't there anymore. You kind of know what's coming, but just the act of playing the game is still fun enough to me.
I think the thing is, it's mechanically a legacy game rather than really narratively. So it doesn't really matter, except for, you don't get the surprise or novelty anymore, but the mechanisms change throughout, and that's kind of what's fun about it. So it's completely fine just to play again, to be honest. But this one will probably never ever move again.
That's gonna down.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on to number 2, and that is Undaunted, and we're including the Undaunted
the whole series
system here, I guess. Yeah, even though they're obviously slightly different games. So we've played that 53 times in total, with a further 9 this year.
Yeah. So this is one of our favorite games, and we always kind of put the game series as one thing because each game is so similar with just a few tweaks here and there. I mean, the core action system is the same. In many games the units are the same. It's more of the scenario design, and I think most of our increase of plays, so last year this shot straight up. I think it was second last year perhaps, and it basically shot all the way up from not even on the top 10. I think we only had 9 plays total or something. And it was because we did a buyer's guide. And we also played Stalingrad, the legacy campaign in the Undaunted series and all this. So we got something like 30 plays within a year and it just shot up. And this year has come from 2200 Callisto, as we did a review. Well, we did an update to our buyer's guide for that new entry in the series, and that's where these 9 plays have come from. And we really enjoyed that game. So Undaunted it was a World War II kind of combat system. Now with Undaunted Callisto, they've kind of gone into fictional sci-fi setting, but you generally are kind of playing cards to move units on a board. You're rolling dice. It's very tense, very tactical.
Yeah, exactly. We really love the system because it's so simple. You're just kind of taking cards, but the cards basically refer to the units that are on the map. The decision about which one to basically use for initiative, because you have to always put one down. You'd have 4 in your hand, put one down. Highest number, card value, is one that goes first. Sometimes you don't want to go first, but you have to sacrifice that unit in order to take the initiative. And then how you just go about doing the objective is really, I've said this many times about Undaunted, but I really feel like I'm the general leading the army, because you could choose to go in offensive and just run out and try to do your objective, or, take the other soldiers down, or you could hang back and be defensive. And just surveying the map and thinking, okay, what can I do here? What can I do there? And when you get to the end of the game, for me at least, I really want to almost like give it a go again and try a different way of doing it. So I think that's why we love it so much. And yeah, really cool to play the Callisto version as well.
Yeah, so a bit like Root, this is a nice combination of something we obviously really love and getting it to the table a lot.
Yeah.
And this is where it kind of falls into it's kind of a benefit in the whole reviewer sense, because we're always playing something new, but that's just adding to our overall plays.
Yeah.
Because they keep releasing games in the series that are very similar mechanically. But yeah, I think, I really enjoyed playing it this year and getting it out. And I think I would have, if we hadn't had Callisto, I would have liked to get some of them out and have a few rounds. Callisto was really fun. It was funny because you can have a loose campaign where you just kind of see who wins overall, but it's more about like total number of wins. And me and Tally basically just traded wins back and forth. Literally, it was like, I won, she won, I won, she won. Crazy. So we came to a standstill basically and drew the campaign.
It was almost just like a running joke then. Okay, well, it's your turn to win
this time. It was,
time.
and it just kept happening.
Yeah.
It was literally 1 for 1 for 1 for 1.
I do really want to go through Stalingrad campaign again as well at some point.
That was good fun.
Yes.
I would like to do that as well.
Okay, so moving on to number 1.
The same number 1 as every year.
Exciting.
Yeah.
No, it's not exciting. It's the same one as every year, and it is Codenames. 55 total plays, but actually we haven't played it at all.
No,
since
so Clover. It's all so
list.
Clover now.
Yeah, I do anticipate this to maybe start dropping down.
Yeah.
For next year, because we're not getting those new plays in, so of course other things are going to come up, and I could definitely see So Clover actually taking its place.
Also Undaunted, I think, if we end up playing some more games.
Take over. Codenames is a team game, loose party game. As you said, with like no thanks, you can play in a party, but you play in teams, and there's a grid of words on the table. And it's almost like battleships, how I describe it. So there's 2 clue givers, 1 on each team. You've got like a battleship style grid that only the clue givers can see. And you have to get your teammates to hit the words that correspond to the grid by saying a word that's associated with the words on the grid. But the catch is you want to try and hit as many as possible in one turn or one guess, because if you just go one by one, then it's likely that one team's just going to like overtake. So the trick is that you want to try and connect all of the words that you're trying to hit with one word to get your teammates to go, okay, I think that could link to that, and that could link to that. So you get as many as possible in a turn.
Yeah, I think Codename, actually you describing it just makes me want to play it now.
Yeah.
But it's just an all-time. Codenames is one of those games where when you show it to people who aren't really hobby gamerists, then they literally are like want to buy it.
Yeah.
They play it, they love it, and they go out and buy it. And I think we both know a fair few people who have just bought this after playing it with us, or bought it for friends, and it's always been a hit. It always goes down well, and there's a reason it got so many plays. And it's because our families love it, our friends love it. It's just a
classic. It's
a classic, and I think what helps is you're always going to play it repeatedly when you get it out, because everyone wants to be the clue giver. So you always like cycle through the team so everyone gets a chance, and then maybe you go again, and it's just it's a really brilliant word game. And it's so much fun. And just, it's...
I would say maybe it is kind of better if you've got 6 people, right, as opposed to 4. Like you can play it with 4, but then it's not as fun to just have, 2 on each team, because the person thinking, they could...
back and forth.
Yeah, they could say their thoughts out loud, but it's not as fun as being in a team with, at least 2 people being like, okay, do you think this? What do you think? I don't think that person would put those words together. So that's just something to consider.
I think that's the strength of So Clover as well, that element goes away, because it's not a team game, it's like a cooperative game.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the end of the list. Yeah, number one. Sorry, that's a bit disappointing.
Same as everyone.
I actually do think it could change next year, so stay tuned.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, like Undaunted leapt up literally out of nowhere last year, so things can always change, but we'll see.
Yep.
So that was our top 10 games, or
Most
top
played.
10 most played games since we started the channel. If this video was interesting, please consider subscribing. We're going to have some great videos coming up in the near future. We're going to be having our top 10 games of the year. We're going to be just in the beginning of next year having our top 10 most played games of this calendar year. So you can see what we really liked playing this year. And then we're also going to have a bunch of our usual review type content. We've got a lot of interesting games to review lined up. Things like Ironwood and Dead Cells, perhaps, a more formal review.
Yep.
So look out for those. And we really appreciate watching. If you want to know anything about the games, ask us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.